Peanut take a day off? No, Peanuts don't even get casual khaki Fridays because Peanuts take their jobs seriously. So let's...
They like to get a full-time salary for a part-time job. They like to get a full-time salary for a part-time job.
He says the problem with teachers is, what's a kid going to learn from someone who decided that his best option in life was to become a teacher? That it's true what they say about teachers: those who can do, and those who can't teach.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
I always had an interest in teaching and just playing school. When I went to college, I majored in English, and I really loved English a lot, so I started tutoring. And then from tutoring, I moved into teaching. And I think being a long-term substitute also helped to convince me of going into the career of teaching. So I entered the field because I just really love helping people, and I love seeing other people happy.
So initially I actually didn't know I wanted to be a teacher. I only discovered that after working with students with severe autism from the ages of 17 to 21. And then from there kind of found my passion and decided that this is exactly what I want to do. So kind of all stemmed from there. Part-time jobs for full-time pay, I've heard that, and the whole comments about, well, you have summers off and you could just go to the beach and do whatever you want, and I think a lot of people don't understand that you're actually cramming 12 months worth of work into 10 months, and a lot of teachers I know actually have to work over the summer to kind of make up for the salary that they're not getting while working, the amount of hours and the time and the effort that they put in to help students in the community. So, I think it really is kind of offensive for people outside of education to assume something like that, but I've definitely found myself defending, the teaching profession a lot to those people.
Well, in the beginning of my career 10 years ago, I would say that I spent a lot of time, maybe 20 hours a week outside of the classroom, grading papers, trying to prepare lesson plans, thinking of alternative ways to meet the needs of each individual learner. Every single day I ask myself, how can I be more creative? What can I do differently? How can I engage the students more? So I spent a lot of my time doing research on my cell phone, trying to find alternative lessons for teaching different things that we're learning through the year, like argumentative writing. How can I hook the learners better with figuring out ways of hooking them, engaging them. So I spent a lot of time just doing research on my cell phone, seeing what other teachers have done, and seeing how I could embed those techniques into my classroom.
So just trying to calculate the mornings in there, I feel an hour beforehand, and then afterwards, probably 2 hours. So, times 5, and then the amount of grading I bring home over the weekends. I can't even tell you how much. Maybe 4 hours, 5 hours total over the weekends. And this is after, teaching for a few years. As a first-year teacher, I felt like I was there till 7:30 every night. The sun had already set, most cards were gone. So, yeah, it's a lot of work outside the hours. I actually work over the summer at Rutgers. I teach 2 online courses. I'll tutor occasionally and then travel if I can, if possible. But yeah, I worked the first 3 years at an extended school year program for kids with autism too. So I think I've worked every summer since before I graduated. In August, I'll start using a little bit of time to start buying things or setting things up in my classroom just to prepare. But
I used to work for a school called Rutgers Preparatory School, where I created a whole curriculum on persuasive writing. So I did that for a few years. Now, currently, I'm just working on my doctorate. So my summer is just packed, going to classes, and just living my life as a student, as a doctoral student, until I finish with school.
I mean, I've had the same thing said to me by people who are not in education, and especially wanting to be a doctor before and then switching to education, it's even, a bigger discrepancy between what my family and friends believe that I can do versus what I'm doing. And I hate the slogan where people say, like, those who can't do teach. And that's tough to hear, but I think, my response to these people all the time is the people who are educating those to be doctors and lawyers and all those things that they're comparing me to, well, I'm doing that in the classroom. So without your teachers, where would you actually be? We wouldn't have doctors and lawyers and all these other people. So, I think that having said that, they see the importance of education and educators leading to those professions that now look down upon teachers. But I think that that's a pretty solid response.
Bottom line, they wouldn't be where they are if they're a doctor, lawyer, accountant, if they work, whatever their work is. Somewhere down the line, if they're working in a profession, or even if they're working in a trade, somewhere down the line they had to be able to learn this knowledge, most likely not in a self-directed manner, but most likely with the help of an actual teacher. Some teacher delivering instruction is mathematics, English, social studies, no matter what it is, somewhere down the line, that individual had to have learned from a teacher.
We teach regardless of the salary. It's not the salary. If it were, we wouldn't be here. Right.
They just want to help the kids.
Nobody that I know of in their right mind is going to say, I got into teaching for the money. All right? They do it because they love to teach.
It's about the kids. I'm not a teacher for money, because I'd be a lawyer if I wanted money. I teach because I love kids.
It's also true that when it comes to teaching, most teachers aren't in it for the money.
You want to know what I make? I make kids work harder than they ever thought they could. I can make a C+ feel like a Congressional Medal of Honor, and I can make an A- feel like a slap in the face. How dare you waste my time with anything less than your very best? I make parents see their children for who they are and who they can be. You want to know what I make? I make kids wonder. I make them question. I make them criticize. I make them apologize and mean it. I make them write, and then I make them read. I make them spell. Definitely beautiful, definitely beautiful, definitely beautiful. Define nightly, beautiful, until they will never misspell either one of those words again. I make them show all their work in math class and then hide it on their final drafts in English. I make them realize that if you've got this, then you follow this. And if somebody ever tries to judge you based on what you make, you give them this. Here, let me break it down for you so you know what I say is true. Teachers make a difference. Now, what about you?
I actually teach because when you know that you are reaching a group of students or a student, you just kind of see their eyes light up, like they actually understand it, and that's just the greatest feeling in the world.
I teach to inspire.
I teach because I believe it is essential to teach our children how to communicate.
I teach because teaching is important. Our kids are important, and I believe in that.
I teach because I want to make a difference.
I teach because I believe that every child deserves an equal opportunity for success in today's society.
I teach because I know that my students are counting on me, not just as an educator who will help them become critical readers and stronger writers, but as someone who will advocate for them and make sure that their voice is heard.